Today's episode, we're here with Martin. Hello, Martin. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself and tell us about you.
Hi, I'm Martijn Veldhoen from Amsterdam, Holland. I used to be, I started my career as a painter and a sculptor. And slowly I got into media art in the 90s, and I got into a gallery, Montevideo, and they distributed my work all over the world, actually, and also ended up in New York at that time in 96, which was great, in the .com gallery. But then slowly they also distributed my work in film theaters and in festivals, and then I won this prize, and one of my films in 2003 was very popular, and that kind of made me go into film more, and so that's why I became a filmmaker. Until now, basically, yeah.
Sounds like it was all fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm a workaholic, so it's work is fun for me anyway.
That's good. So my first question was going to be, what made you want to be a filmmaker? You kind of answered that, but you want to add to that?
Well, compared to let's say to painting, you really can't compare painting or sculpture to let's say to film, obviously. I think, but filmmaking, film is more immersive. So what I like about film, it involves sound, it involves music, and obviously image and storytelling. So it's it's more involving. I think it's one of the strongest mediums still in this world. So it was, for me, that's one of the reasons I wanted to work with film. Yeah.
All right, you kind of answered this next question also. Your introduction was great. So how long have you been doing this? How long have you been making films?
I've been making video installations and media art, I think 15 years, and now 20 years into filmmaking. I'm a pretty old guy already, so that's why. Obviously I'm still kind of in the gray area between the arts and filmmaking, but I'm making films that are shown on film festivals for 20 years, I guess, something around that. Yeah.
So did you find when you first decided you were going to do films, what was the response from your friends and family? Did they say, oh, no, stay as a sculpture painter, you're going to be, or were they like supportive, go for it?
Yeah, I think they were supportive. Yeah. I think film is a medium that, really everybody watches film, and not everybody goes to a museum, or film is a much more accessible medium. So I think
much more universal.
Yes, it's much more universal. Yeah, definitely. And it attracts a broad audience. It's so broad. That's also what I like about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where you live, do you have a group? You have your tribe of filmmakers, of creatives that you have around you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are into film, and yeah, we kind of support each other also. So very often I can't fund my films only by grants or by working with the producer, but I also need to make my own money, of course, obviously, like everybody. And so I work on film projects from others, and I do visual effects and editing sometimes, and sometimes camera work. So that's the way I work, and in a large group of colleagues, actually. Yeah, it's nice.
Mm-hmm. So what made you decide to make this film?
Well, it's maybe a bit of a long story, so you interrupt me when I'm going too far. But this film, I've always been fascinated by animals, and when I was really small, I already drew a lot of animals, and we had a lot of animals around us. I live in the city when I was young, also, but we had dogs, we had cats, and we had birds, and so I was very much involved with birds or with animals from a very early age. And at a certain point, I started, of course, looked a lot of documentaries, a lot of films on animals. up till now, actually. And, you know, the obvious BBC documentary from Edinburgh, or, you know, the National Geographic films. And what is always the same there is that first you have pristine beauty of nature, and that's amazing. That's nice, very nice. But you never see man in there somehow, you know, a city or whatever. Wildlife and man is strictly separate there most of the time. And what you also have is always this narrative of, you know, the last 10 minutes of life, the last 5 minutes, you have this narrative like, oh, we are destroying nature. You know, we are doing this to nature, that, you know, the biodiversity is going away, and then humanity is doing this. And, you know, in a way that's true, but it's also a narrative that has a beard, you know, you know, we don't kind of, we're not susceptible for that anymore. You know, nothing happens with that. And so I had something like, okay, let's see if I can turn it around. So if, for instance, if there's a lot of birds in the cities and wildlife in the city in my film. If, for instance, if I would have had the opportunity to ask a heron or a seagull, but how is your life in Amsterdam? You know, he would probably say, oh, my life is cool. You know, I have fish here, I have the markets here, I have you know, the canals. So I'm cool. I mean, what are you talking about? You know. And so that's one part of it. And I wanted to kind of to give the opportunity to give the voice to the animals, in fact. And so, you know, nature talks through the voices of the animals. And yeah, in the end, I think also nature goes on, you know, I think it's we should take care of nature, but nature in the end takes care of itself. You know, if there would be a disaster created by us, give nature, give the animals, give life on Earth 20 million years, give it 1 million years, give it 100 million years. You know, life has been here for 1 billion years, so it will build up again. And, you know, the ones who are in trouble are we, you know. We have to do it not for nature to take care of it. We have to do it for ourselves, you know. So that's the narrative I try to address in this film. It's not very positive, but, you know, it's kind of.
Well, it's very true, though. You know,
Yeah.
nature will get rid of us and continue without thinking.
Yeah.
I know. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the hardest part of making this film, and what was the most fun? They kind of go hand in hand sometimes. So.
They do. Yeah, they tend to do that. Well, the hardest part is probably obvious for any independent filmmaker. That's getting it financed. Getting it financed is always, you know, a bore, and it always takes a lot of time and a lot of you know, working together with producers or either not produce. The last 2 films I did without producers, so that was even more difficult. So you have to file for grants, and you know, you need a lot of money to kind of work 1 year on this film, which I did. And that was annoying. But in the end, when I got it and I was allowed to make this film, it was amazing to be on location on all these sites, and you know, to be there and film nature and film wildlife in the city. You know, it was kind of totally weird to get into this. The most fun actually was on the market, you know, on seeing the birds on the market and trying to film them there. And you know, but that was kind of also the easiest part, in fact. You know, the filming of the bison, the European bison, was really hard. But you know, the birds in the city was fun, great fun, to film.
Where'd you film the bison?
The bison, all the animals are filmed within a range of 20 miles around Amsterdam, in Amsterdam and around Amsterdam. And I think Amsterdam is one of the most densely populated areas in the world. So what we do here is we have a lot of birds and stuff in the cities, but we allow them there to be, and I think in any city maybe. We have these small pockets of nature gone wild a little bit, where we allow to have bison, and so it was filmed there. Yeah,
I was in Yellowstone, and bison are big. Bison,
yeah,
are big, and they're powerful, and
Yeah. Well, they are big here too. They actually, European bison is not smaller, but they look smaller, you know. But they also can tend to be dangerous, so you have to be careful, and you can't get too close and so on. But it's all very exciting, I think. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. All right. So when you make a movie, are you the type of filmmaker that you make the movie, you finish it, you put it out to the world, and you go, okay, I'm done. Right? Or are you the type of filmmaker that sits there, looks at it, and goes, you know what I should have done? I should have done X. And someday I'm going to get the money and fix it. Which type are you?
Well, I'm not, you know, obviously you know, the film I made, you know, afterwards you can always have a discussion about the film. Was it the film that I wanted to make? Was it, you know, was it okay for me? But I'm not going to change it a few years later. No, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather go to a new film and make that better than, you know, change my old film, and that's old news already. Yeah.
So now,
Working on a new film already, so.
all right, and in the indie film world, we all know we're not going to become rich. We're not going to buy private jets and yachts on the money we make from the indie film world. How would you rate success? What does success look like and sound like in the indie film world?
For me, that would be, you know, getting your film to be seen on festivals and maybe win a prize, or and also it's very important if I don't show my film and it doesn't have any success, I can't fund my next film. So it's very obviously that, and I also want it, apart from that fact, you know, I want my film to be seen. You know, I don't make it for nothing. You know, it's not. I didn't make it for the drawer. I want to make it. Yeah, I want it to be seen, and I just won a prize, a little prize in Mexico, on the biggest prize of the festival, of a very small festival in Mexico, which is nice. You know, it doesn't have to go to Cannes or to or, you know, to a big festival. Small festivals are okay, but it should be, you know, it should have a function. And I maybe try to sell it, or you know, that would be nice, but we'll see.
Okay. All right, cool. So somebody comes along and goes, Uncle Martin, I want to be a filmmaker. What would be your advice to somebody who comes along and says, I want to be a filmmaker just like you? What would you say to them? What would be your advice?
Don't do it. No. No, it's you know, it's absolutely it's a hard work, because you have to, you know, if you have to pull yourself up the whole time.
Yes.
But it's also really, you know, rewarding in the sense that you are doing something that you think is important, and you're also doing something most of the time that's nice. You know, I love to be a filmmaker, and it you know, it enriches my life, and yeah, so I would say start slowly, start on a low level, and don't get your ambitions too high. Start slow, see if it's something for you, and see if there are opportunities to make it bigger later. But start with a small independent film that you didn't ask any grant for or something, but something like that. Yeah, start small. And don't get let's say, discouraged, or yeah, go on.
Okay. I'm done with my questions. Do you have any final thoughts or words you want to say?
Yeah, I'm really honored to be on your festival again, and I really appreciate that all, you know, the last 3 films are being shown at your festival, which I really like. And next
make
film,
it this year?
not this year, but maybe next time.
Okay.
I'm working on a new film, and I really definitely want to come to New York the next time, and going to work on that.
Okay, great. All right, well, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.